Hi there. Welcome. Welcome to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine, and I just have a little short and sweet one today. I was going to take this book down to my living room because it's going to be a look at that. It's so miserable looking. This poor thing, so sad looking. I couldn't even tell the front from the back. I was going to take it downstairs so that it could go on the side table beside my end of the couch to be a word snippet book. I usually have a book going if I'm not fussy cutting flowers and birds and things like that while I watch TV late in the evening. Now that it's summertime, I can work here at my desk till almost 9 o'clock at night with the natural daylight. I don't do well working in the dark by lamps, but I can do that. Anyhow, so summertime, not so much. Wintertime, big time. I usually will curl up on the couch in the evening and fussy cut or word snippet. So, and then I thought, you know what? Some people who maybe have yet to embrace the joy of word snippets, I thought I'd do a little word snippet episode. So, and like I said, usually on my end of the couch where I sit, and the couch sort of goes like this, you'll know my spot. I have a book going, and I usually have a little clear envelope going, and there's usually a pair of scissors there. And I mostly listen to TV. I don't know what you guys are like, but I mostly listen to TV and look at whatever it is that my hands and fingers are doing. It's just me. And as I said, it's usually flowers, birds, animals, little things that I'm fussy cutting, or else it's word snippets. I love, love, love word snippets. I think it's such a fun, quirky way to really personalize a journal, either with your own sense of humor or to offer a word that might be a prompting for a journal entry, or it might be uplifting if it's a journal about, sometimes people love using prompting words like breathe or love, or there's certain words that might, even just the word memory or happy times, things like that, will, for a journal writer, they might go, oh, that reminds me of that day, and then they'll just write, I remember a day back when, and it's kind of a fun thing. I certainly love word snippets to put on quirky old black and white photos. I just think that it really, really adds a little more personality to the book. So these are some word snippets I had going in my envelope. And then for me, what I do is I have my big word snippet board book. If you've watched before, you know about my board book. And I will put the link down below to how I made my word snippet board book for anyone who wants to make their own. Very easy to make, very quick. You can do it in about an hour, maybe less if you're fast. And you just need an empty old cover from a book that maybe you've used for something else, and you cut up the guts for fussy cutting. And you can make yourself a word snippet board. I just find when it's on a board, I can spot what I'm looking for faster than when I've got it in an envelope. And what I will do is I will refill this as needed from my little baggie of word snippets. So I'll put a link down below, and you can go visit and see how I've made mine. I'm sure there must be a better way out there to do it, but for me, I've been using this now for quite a while. It works terrific for me, and it does the trick. And it was cheap and easy, and I like anything cheap and easy. That's me. So let me show you how I find my books for word snippets, because I find that some work better than others. First of all, I'm the kind of person that I really like a genuine word snippet. I like the challenge of finding a string of beautiful words that just really make your thought process go, hmm. And it's fun when you can get a few strung together that are really nice. And it's also okay when you just find one word, but it will still be a good one to prompt a journal entry. So, so what I usually will look for is a larger font is nice. As you can see, this one here, this large font is really, really great. Easy on the eyes, easy to cut out, and I really like a normal font as opposed to a modern one. Like this is, most likely that's Times New Roman, but the new ones, you know, Arial or any of those kind, I don't like them, not so much. So I look for that sort of thing. And then what I will do, my sources are old books that I've already gutted and made journals out of. For some of these books, I will save the text block. Some of them I don't. I most likely will not be saving the text block, for example, from Betty that I'm working on right now. I'm not even sure where Betty's text block is. Oh, here's, for the journal I'm working on right now, this is the text block. I might do a quick look through and see if I can just word snippet it and then get rid of it, because these pages are really very poor quality for making anything else from. Whereas these papers are very good quality to make journaling cards. So I will still continue to use this paper, but I will also use, I will still cut word snippets out of it. I love using chapter headings for word snippets and also for page tabs. And sometimes the chapter titles make really fun word snippets. This is a book again. I used the cover to make a journal, but the guts I still really love. I mean, look at the artwork on that. I will use that someday in another journal somewhere along the way. There's artwork in here. Look at that. Mama quail with her babies. So cute. So Lady Betty the quail. Oh, that might have to go into Betty. Lady Betty the quail. Oh. All right. I'm going to have to put this aside because I'm working on a journal right now, and the character is Betty. So I'm going to put these aside for now. We don't need these to finish today's quick little entry. So sometimes if it's a good quality text block, I'll save it, and I just put them aside, and I'll pull word snippets from those. I have very good sources for little golden books at my thrift stores in town. In fact, one of my thrift stores, I can get little golden books usually for about 19 cents. So they're just a really good source for me to get word snippets, because as you can see, the font is nice and big and clear. It's easy to cut around. Sometimes if there's not a lot of space in between the sentences, that can make it difficult to cut out a word snippet. But a little golden book is terrific. So if you've got some little golden books, I always have several on the go in what I call my cutting box. It's down underneath a table over there. And I just have books that have been cut up and they've already been rated for the cause. And so I will just, get into one of these, and I can cut word snippets from here. And it's a great source, little golden books, because it's nice. It's nice big print. It's for children who are just starting to read. You'll find that a really good source, which is also why this one is going to be a good source for word snippets. Look at how nice and big that font is. This paper is really, really poor quality. It just sort of mushy. It sort of just pulls apart rather than rips apart. But it will be absolutely fine to make word snippets from. There's plenty of room in between, and very, very good source for word snippets. I love when a word snippet comes from a book that the reader will recognize. Oh, there's my phone. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Real life when you're making a YouTube channel video. So sometimes I like to use even a paragraph snippet rather than just a word if it's a book that most people will recognize and brings nice warm feelings to their heart, like Charlotte's Web. Just about everyone just loves Charlotte's Web. The Little House on the Prairie books, they would recognize those. These ones are awesome for word snippets. It's nice and big and clear. And again, the words that are strung together are nice because Laura Ingalls Wilder does a lot of really nice descriptive words of her surroundings. So of the flowers and the trees and the farm and the animals and you know, the love between her family, and that it really makes for nice word snippets strung together. And as you can see, even by this book, I don't know if you can tell, it was 50 cents. So, and knowing me, I probably got it on half off day. So look at all the word snippets you can get out of that. I will go crazy. And paperbacks, I'm not talented enough, or I haven't even tried and make a junk journal out of a paperback. I'm sure it can be done. I've made Traveler's Notebook style junk journals out of like old Harlequin romances, and those are lots of fun. So I'm not writing it off, but I really haven't gotten into trying to figure out a way books like this making into a junk journal. So I'll still sort of hang on to that just in case, or I might want to use that front illustration. It'll all get used and it won't go to waste. I'm quite sure this one was probably in their free take it home box because this one obviously got something spilled on it at some point. But as soon as I saw the title of it, I knew that the font would be big and that it would have some really nice nice words strung together. So those are good. Back on the subject of the Little Golden Book, if you're like me and you have a really bad Little Golden Book addiction, you'll have multiple titles of the same book. So just pick one that's going to be your cutter and keep it aside, and you can rate it not only for the illustrations, but you can also rate it for the words, because again, it's a nice size. And certainly, you know, make one just for Christmas so that you will have Christmas word snippets, and make a little envelope for yourself of Christmas word snippets, or else make a little section. I have a little section on my board book of over here is Christmas word snippets. You can see them down there. So that will make your word snippet job easier. So what I do when I'm sitting and watching TV is I usually will literally pull out a book. I'm going to leave that one in because I think I'm going to want to keep that chapter 1 heading. So I'm going to pull the second page out. And the neat thing about word snippets is, unlike when you're fussy cutting a book for the illustrations, you often have to be careful and check the other side, because sometimes you only see one side. You go, oh, this is awesome. You cut this out and there was something better on the other side. And sometimes you have to make a choice, one side or the other, when it comes to illustrations. Or sometimes you can, as long as you're careful, you can get the one and then get the other up here. But if you just go to town and hack at it, and then you flip it over and you realize you cut the lady's leg off, and your heart sinks if you're like me. So the thing about word snippets is, I have found for me, I just simply get started on the front page, and I look for what I might want, and then I flip it over and I try and make do of what I can here. So the first one I'm seeing here is, I'm seeing the word laughed, and that's great. So I will just go in, and I don't even mind that there's a period at the end of the word left, because to me, that just legitimizes it. People will know I did not buy these from a pre-made kit. I didn't print them off. I didn't type them out, that I actually got that out of a book. And, you know, I can see that looking cute on a photo, on an illustration. So then I would look through, like here, I love this one. It seemed funny. I can see putting that on an old black and white photo that maybe is a quirky little photo. So I would go for It Seemed Funny. And I would just take it out like that. Usually when I'm going to put a word snippet into a book, I will still ink around the edge. And I'll actually show you the two ways that I like inking around the edge of a word snippet when I finish taking a look over this. Muddy water. Oh, I like that. I'm just as well satisfied. So I'm going to take that. That gets my mind puzzled and curious. So I am going to take those ones out. And something I will do also, that seems like a long one, and I may very well use that in full length, but I may also trim it down someday. I could see myself wanting just Well Satisfied, or I can also see myself just wanting to use Satisfied, and I'll still even snip a word snippet once I've got it out. So then I just, again, my eyes just sort of scan the page. I don't read it, unless some books I do end up reading. they end up being interesting. Bottom, smiling. Yeah, see, I like that one, smiling. See that word? I'm going to take smiling. Now I'm not going to do the whole page here. Smiling is coming along. But then pretend I've gone over the whole page. I'll flip it over, and yeah, there's holes missing, but there's still some that you might find here that you well, you know what, I'm going to take at home, because that's nice. So I would just go in and snip out from the other side. So yes, there's loss, there's pieces missing. Certainly, because this one is only half a page, but it's hit and miss, and you're going to find lots and lots of word snippets, even from one book. You're going to have more than you need, unless, again, you're like me and you're addicted. Word snippets are one of those things that just makes my heart smile. I just love it. Now, let me get a little piece of paper here. Hold on. And then I'm going to show you the two different ways that I will ink around a word snippet. So I'm going to bring this closer. Hold on. And hopefully you don't jiggle too much. Sorry if you're getting nauseated. But I want you to be able to see what I'm going to do. There we go. All right, now I'm going to tilt that up a little better. There we go. All right, so you get out your distress ink if you use it, or an ink pad if you use that for distressing. I've seen both used equally well. And so here's a regular ink pad as well. So let's say I'm going to distress ink It Seemed Funny. Oh, I took the 2. I don't want the 2. I'm talking too much. There we go. It Seemed Funny. So for It Seemed Funny, I would get my little inking brush, and then I would just gently go around it. I find you have to be gentle. Can't be too vigorous, because you'll fold it up. It's just such a tiny little piece of paper. So, and just get that edge, because it's very easy to completely run the ink over this entire tiny little piece of paper. And it just makes, because the dark edging makes the edge more noticeable, it makes it also more evident that this little piece of strung together words has actually been cut out of an actual book. So I'll put it on this one and you can see what that does. It just looks really nice and it's fun. So another way I do it, and it depends on the mood I'm in. It's hit and miss why I would choose one way or another, but I really seldom leave a word snippet on its own. I'm not saying I'll never do that, but I very seldom will put one just like this into a book. I usually will ink around the edge by distress ink, or else by the way I'm going to do it now. So now I would take my ink pad like this, and I'll hold the word snippet upright, and I will just tap the edge of that paper on the ink pad. And what that does is it actually gives it a really nice little dark border. It's really quick, it's easy. You have to be careful with older papers because sometimes they'll just go and they'll want to soak up the they want to soak up the ink, so be careful. But also sometimes that makes it exciting and interesting. So you just sort of tap. Sorry, I had something itchy there. And then let me put this here so you can see that once you lay that down, it's got a little border around it. And that's so easy to do. You can actually do that with illustrations that perhaps you didn't want to fussy cut around the edge, but you wanted to just cut it in a square, but you still wanted the illustration to have a border on it, say a black and white drawing out of an old book. You can do this technique with that, and it really just gives it a nice fine little border that goes around the edge. I can see here it needs a little bit more right there, so I would give that a little more. Sometimes if I'm having a fumbly finger day, I will use my tweezers to hold the paper, and that way you can just tap. I have been known to get ink all over my fingers when I'm doing that. And I don't worry too much if you can tell that this has been scissor cut, because again, for me, I feel that's the charm of it. That lets the new person who is enjoying this book know that this book was made by hand. It wasn't run through a printing press. It wasn't run through a cutting machine. Somebody actually took the time with their scissors while they're watching TV, maybe, or sitting around the campfire. I do that too. If it's summer months, a lot of my fussy cutting gets done around the campfire. I can throw my offcuts right into the pit. It just adds to the charm. So there you go. There's my little short and sweet on word snippets. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe it would inspire you to give it a try if you've got some old books hanging around, some children's books. They're the best. Although I did have one book that was fabulous for word snippets, and I got it again at one of my little sales. It was a Christian historical fiction romance in large print. How's that for a long kind of book? But you know what? It just had a lot of really nice uplifting words and phrases in it. And I loved it for word snippets. It was terrific. So there you go. I am just very well satisfied today with these word snippets. And I hope you'll have fun maybe incorporating word snippets into your journals too. Thanks for visiting. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.